I'm Oliver. Today, we're going to talk about why finishing last is a choice. So, let's start with a story that might sound painfully familiar to many men. You're a good guy. You're considerate. You're helpful. You always listen to her problems. You're the one she calls when she needs help moving or a shoulder to cry on. You do everything for her, hoping she'll finally see what a great partner you would be. But then she tells you what a great friend you are and starts dating someone who, from your perspective, is a complete jerk. You're left feeling confused, resentful, and utterly defeated. The familiar thought echoes in your mind. Nice guys finish last. What's wrong with women? What if I told you the problem isn't her and it isn't the bad boys? What if the problem is that your niceness isn't actually nice at all? What if it's a form of passive manipulation, a hidden strategy based on a secret contract that the other person never signed? Today, we are going to dissect the nice guy syndrome. This is not about learning to be a jerk. It's about learning to be a genuinely good, authentic, and powerful man who doesn't need to finish last because he runs his own race. First, let's be clear. We are not talking about men who are genuinely kind. The nice guy, on the other hand, operates on a subconscious, transactional basis. He is nice with a hidden agenda. This is what we call the covert contract. It works like this. The nice guy believes if I am a good, accommodating, and helpful person, and if I suppress my own needs to meet yours, then you owe me. You owe me your love, your approval, or your affection. The problem, of course, is that the other person has no idea this contract even exists. They just think you're being a friend. So when the nice guy doesn't get his expected payment, he doesn't question his strategy. He becomes resentful and concludes that the other person is selfish or cruel. Where does this come from? It comes from a deep seated belief, often learned in childhood, that his authentic self is somehow flawed or unlovable. He believes he is not good enough on his own, so he must earn love and approval through his actions and by being nice. He becomes a human doing instead of a human being. This strategy is doomed to fail, and it manifests in three toxic traits that poison his interactions. Toxic trait number one: dishonesty and a lack of boundaries. Because the nice guy's primary goal is to seek approval and avoid conflict, he rarely expresses his true feelings or opinions. He says yes when he desperately wants to say no. He agrees with opinions he doesn't share. He pretends to be okay with things that actually bother him. From his perspective, he's just being agreeable to keep the peace. But from the other person's perspective, this is deeply confusing and feels inauthentic. It's impossible to trust or build a real connection with someone if you never know what they truly think or feel. He becomes a chameleon, but a chameleon has no core. Toxic trait. Number two, passive aggression. This is the inevitable consequence of the broken covert contract. The nice guy represses his needs and frustrations to avoid conflict. But that anger doesn't just disappear, it leaks out sideways. This is passive aggression. It's the sarcastic comment. It's the guilt tripping sigh. It's the silent treatment. It's doing a favor for someone, but making sure they know how much of an inconvenience it was. He avoids direct conflict, but he makes the emotional atmosphere around him tense and unpleasant. He's unable to say, I'm angry, so he makes everyone else feel his anger. Toxic trait. Number three, a victim mentality. Because the nice guy believes he is doing everything right, he feels constantly wronged when the world doesn't give him what he thinks he deserves. He sees himself as a martyr, a noble victim in a cruel world that doesn't appreciate his efforts. He blames others for his unhappiness, his partner, his boss, society, because taking responsibility for his own life and his own results is too terrifying. Acknowledging that his strategy is flawed would mean confronting his core fear that he might not be good enough on his own. So, how do you break free from this cycle? It's a journey of unlearning these toxic patterns and replacing them with authentic strength. It's the path from being a nice guy to becoming a good man. Step 1. Take radical responsibility. This is the first and hardest step. You must stop blaming others for your lack of results and your unhappiness. Your life is your responsibility. Your happiness is your responsibility. No one owes you anything for being nice. This isn't meant to be harsh. It's meant to be liberating. The moment you stop being a victim, you reclaim the power to change your life. Radical responsibility means understanding that every choice you've made has led you to where you are right now. This doesn't mean you can control everything that happens to you, but it does mean you can always control how you respond. When you accept this truth, excuses lose their power. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin asking, "What can I do with this?" That shift is where growth begins, and it's the foundation for everything that comes after. Step 2. Prioritize your own integrity. This means aligning your actions with your true values and feelings. It means starting to tell the truth. Start by saying no to small things. Stop pretending to like things you don't. State your opinion respectfully, even if it might lead to a disagreement. The goal is to build self-respect. You will discover that the right people won't abandon you for having boundaries. They will respect you more. You need to be willing to risk disapproval to gain your own approval. I've really enjoyed getting to know you. I would like to take you on a proper date next Friday. This is honest, confident, and direct. It respects your own desire and the other person's autonomy to say yes or no. It invites a clear answer, which, even if it's a no, is 1,000 times better than the anxiety of a maybe. And step 4, develop your internal validation. The nice guy is externally validated. He needs the approval of others to feel good about himself. A good man is internally validated. His self-worth comes from living in alignment with his values, from his purpose, and from his integrity. The action plan. Find your purpose outside of your relationships. Get passionate about your career. Learn a skill. Master a hobby. Get physically strong. Build a life that you are proud of, a life that feels meaningful to you. When your self-worth comes from your own actions, you stop desperately seeking it from others. You approach relationships not as a beggar seeking scraps of approval, but as a king offering to share his kingdom. The opposite of a nice guy is not a jerk. The opposite of a nice guy is an integrated, authentic man. A man who is kind, but not at the expense of his own truth. A man who is giving, but doesn't expect a transactional return. A man who can be gentle and strong, vulnerable and confident. Stop trying to be nice. Start trying to be real. A real man with real opinions, real needs, and real boundaries is infinitely more powerful and attractive than a nice guy hiding behind a mask of agreeableness. The world doesn't need more nice guys. It needs more good men. Are you ready to stop finishing last? Let me know in the comments what your first step will be. And if you're ready to build a life of authentic power, make sure you subscribe.